We've got some
Hey,
fresh new
I'm
young
Luis.
talent
And
doing some
I'm
things that I know
Luis.
you haven't
And you're
heard
listening to the
before.
Content is Profit podcast.
Today we have an incredible guest, and we're going to be talking all about breaking out from your cage and growing your business. Woo. Woo.
Do you have a
I know.
cage, FONZI?
Sometimes I feel like I do.
I know.
And
I
I'm
think
like,
it's a good-
I just want to break out and, and conquer the world. And I think that's what we're going to learn today here with today's guest.
I know.
I feel, reading his story, and when I met him, dude, I felt like he has broken out of multiple cages, multiple times. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Can't wait to dive in. But before we get started, FONZI, do we have a sponsor today?
Indeed, we do. Thank you for asking, good sir.
You're welcome.
Today's sponsor is your own, the BIZBROS. Yes, we sponsor our own podcast with content momentum.
Ooh.
If you are looking to build your 6 or 7 figure platform and you want to increase your status and your opportunities, we are here to help you out. Slide into the DMs at BIZBROSCO on Facebook, on Instagram.
That's right, guys. And follow the show because every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, these episodes are dropping golden boulders all around your head. I guess I'm going to say your head. So you can move your business and life forward. Let's go.
Yeah, for those that are new here, golden boulders are just like golden nuggets, just way
Bigger. Let's go.
Now, if today's guests help you move one step closer to your goal, please don't forget to share this episode with 3 friends. That is your ticket of admission to listening to this free and awesome podcast. A little bias in there, but I think it's pretty awesome.
That's right.
And don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
Good job, FONZI. All right, new guest alert. We met him through our good friend, Donnie Boyvin. Today's guest was one of the speakers of the Badass Business Summit. And let me tell you, he is a total badass.
That's right. Today's guest has done everything. And I mean that. He has built and done anything from an impressive marketing agency, insurance teams, written a book, and check this one out. This one took me by surprise. He became a travel agent as well. If there's someone out there with loads of experience, it is today's guest.
And that's pretty impressive. But check this out. After years of hustling and growing, he's dedicating himself to building his community, which is led by his podcast, Boss Uncaged, which you totally need to go check out.
Oh, yeah. Right after this episode, you need to go and subscribe to his podcast. Please welcome host of Boss Uncaged, the big boss himself, S.A. Graham. What's up, S.A.?
Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having me on the show, man.
Dude, it's an honor to have you here. This is been a long time coming, honestly.
Yeah, it has been. Definitely.
It's your fault, FONZI. Just gotta put that out there.
Absolutely.
Essay, man. Like I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into the Uncaged, your story, right? Like I have so many questions already.
Mm-hmm.
But for those that might not be very familiar with you, how do you actually start in the entrepreneurship with like building these businesses or creating these companies and working with teams? Like how did that actually start?
It was one of those things, man. I think it's like when you're born into being an entrepreneur, but you don't know it, and then it just happens. And for me, it happened when I was in college, and I was getting my first degree, which was graphic design, and I was like, this is cool, but how do I monetize this bad boy? Like, what can I do with it? And then from there, I then went to something else. I was like, this is cool too. How do I monetize that? So it became kind of like a lifelong addiction for me.
That's interesting. I love that. I feel like some people happens a little bit more organic, but I feel like you were already like in that mindset of like, how do I make this money with this? And I'm curious, why? Like, did you have a necessity, right? Like coming, from a certain background? I'm not sure. For us personally, when we started looking for solutions was because our parents like demanded it from us. We were like, oh, I want this. Well, okay, figure out how to make it happen, right? And I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Okay, let's resell some soccer t-shirts, for example, right? I'm curious, like, where did that, hunger, if we want to put it that way, for monetization came from?
I think it was more so me just being a natural, tinkerer, right? It's just like putting things together. Like when I was in school, it was like early 2000. So, it was kind of before Apple like really blew up to what it was, before iTunes. And back then it was kind of like, so I was like, okay, what's this multimedia thing, right? Nowadays you look at it as like the metaverse, right? So it was just kind of me just touching and being extremely excited about something, but at the same time knowing that, you know, eventually I'm going to have to make money at doing that. I just can't go around and pushing buttons and creating cool things without, you know, creating some kind of profit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I feel like a lot of people might have some confusion, like where they go, right? Like, for example, we're from Venezuela, right? Originally, right? Like, I went to school and business school because we have a saying, if you don't know what to do, just go to business school. And then I guess you'll figure it out, right? So I did 2 years in Venezuela and then I came here on a soccer scholarship, right? But it was the same mentality. It was like, I honestly don't know what to do. And then through my college career, right, I found a lot of people that were in the same position, maybe very confused, or like 3 years in, they're like, crap, like this is probably not the thing that I really want to do. And I just wasted 3 years, right? Maybe that was the mentality, right? How, and we'll dive into like the multiple experience, but like, why did you choose to do graphic design? That seems to be like a very powerful start, right? Especially nowadays, like it's like you know the future. So why that? And then how has that helped, that decision helped you build what you're building now?
Yeah, so I grew up in Brooklyn, right? And in like my middle school years, I had a friend of mine, and his tag name was Acre. So Acre essentially put me on to graffiti. So I started like, you know, learning about markers, studying graffiti, etching glass, spray painting, and I was more like a tagger, catching quick tags. So my parents knew that I was a graffiti artist. So when I came, they dragged me from Brooklyn to Atlanta. And once I graduated from high school, they was like, okay, what are we going to do with this kid? Well, he has art per se. He does graffiti. He walks around with a black book, always has a Sharpie and marker in his hand, throw his ass in art school.
Yeah.
So then when I went to art school, I was like, okay, what am I going to do in art school? I don't know. What's this graphic design thing? And then the first day in my first graphic design class, I was like, holy shit, this is the Mecca. It opened up. I was like, I can do what I was doing running from the cops, but I can do it in a digital fashion and not be arrested for it. So I just fell in love with it. It became like a lifelong passion.
That's impressive. I'm curious, how do you think that move, your parents moving you from Brooklyn to Atlanta, changed your life right there?
It was drastic because, I mean, you know, you think about high school. High school is at that pivotal point to where, you know, I have 2 high school kids right now. So I couldn't imagine ripping them out of their school currently right now and take them to another side of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only thing that they essentially know is Atlanta, but imagine me moving them to Alaska. It's like, what the hell? So, I mean, I think it was a good decision in the long run. It gave me some more opportunities, but being who I am, I think no matter where they would have placed me or where I was, eventually I would still become who I am today.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I feel like that was the first cage, right? That, you know, you broke out and we were like, all right, let's go in a sense, right? So walk me through a little bit of like after graduation, right? Like, did you start your business like right in college? How was that first experience, right? Building something, right? Because in the intro we mentioned there's several things. How was that first experience? We have our first experience with like vinyl stickers. That was our thing, and we were not graphic designers, so we were like, oh man, how do we figure this one out? But like, walk me through like what was that first experience? You know, creating something of value, building a business, and moving forward.
I think for me, it really gave me an itemized look at what a rebranding looks like. Because my first degree was graphic design, so the first company was essentially Cerebral Graphics, because that's the only thing that I knew how to do. And then after that, it then became Cerebral Media as I became more of a multimedia specialist. And it just kept evolving and evolving. So if nothing else, it gave me an opportunity to see, like, how do I update my brand to match my target audience before I even knew what a target audience was. Before I even knew, like, before Facebook even had ad campaigns, I was trying to figure out, well, you know, graphic design is going to leave me down a pigeonhole. They're going to see me as only a designer when I can code, I can develop. So how do I bring these two worlds together? So I'm gonna have to change my name from graphic to media. And then eventually, you know, that brand became Cerebral 360, which is just a full, complete solution. So it was me updating on the fly.
Yeah. I love that. I love that evolution and willing to adapt. And that's actually something that we were talking about probably like last week, fairly recently.
Yeah.
And it was the evolution of the service. Like, we've been doing what we have been doing for the last year and a half, and we haven't really like changed it that much. And when we had clients coming in, right, and they're like, oh, but you do X, Y, and Z. We're like, you know, like, that's a little bit outside of the scope. We want to like focus on what we do really well, which I still don't see anything wrong with that. But then I don't remember who we heard it from, that they were like, hey, you gotta evolve. Like, problems evolve. Your solutions need to evolve too. Look, the light, it's already starting. the strobe effect in there. But we sat down and we're like, maybe we need to evolve our service to, you know, serve better the people that we want to help, right? So now we're in the talks of like, okay, how can we include certain elements to, you know, especially the ones that we've gotten people asking for. How can we include this? And I think that's along the lines of what you did. You had that evolution, but I'm curious, you know, I got to a point where, I don't know, maybe evolving was way too much, right? After Cerebral 360, I'm guessing, I mean, if it's a full-fledged agency that you do everything, it's probably a lot, right? And instead of evolving, you probably had to just like go somewhere else totally different, right? What was that transition? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that transition essentially, because I think I was trying to, you know, not become Elon Musk, but I had that Elon Musk mentality. It's kind of like, I'm going to put my hands in all these damn things. I'm going to be an octopus, and I'm going to make all of this thing work. And I'm going to create this synergy, and I'm going to create this massive corporation. Hence why I became a travel agent, because it was more so I had the creative side, but I wanted to get more of the business side. So that's when I became the insurance agent. I was like, as an insurance agent, that's a pinnacle point in finance, no matter what side of the coin you're on. So I dove into that space, and I got my insurance license. I still hold them to this day. Then I got my Series 6, more so analyzing the market. And then I became more of like a consultant. And I'm just jumping around, picking up things that, you know, like you said, you can't really get in school. Like, so I was getting paid to play. I was jumping from company to company, 30 days here, 60 days there, just getting random jobs because I knew that company had the philosophy or had the software or had the know-how that I was looking to learn really quickly and then apply it to my company.
I freaking love that. By the way, I, like on the way here, I was listening to a story of somebody that went to this auction, right? And it was something completely different than what he normally used to do, right? And he was explaining how the auctioneer was teaching people how to buy. So it's like less friction during the event, right? And then he came back that same Monday. I'm like, hey, we got to implement this new process in the sales process that we have, either the webinars or the presentations, the on-stage thing. How do we actually teach people to reduce the friction for them to actually go make the purchase, right? And is putting yourself in those situations where like maybe it's different industries, right? Like I personally come from the fitness industry, right? I ran fitness studios for a while, and then applying those principles to maybe a monthly membership on a network that we might or might not be building. So like what are those principles that you might bring, right, from other industries? Like, I mean, and I love it. Was that pretty intuitive for you? Because I feel like a lot of people, when they dive in, right, the message is niche down into this one thing, right? And then, for example, our personal experience was we niched down, we grabbed a lot of traction very quickly, right? We maintain, and then the natural evolution starts asking like us, be like, okay, what's next? Or they're like, hey, can you guys help me do this and do that and do that, right? So for us has been kind of like a friction point there, because we're like, okay, should we just continue on this path of like highly focused service and highly niche down, or should we start expanding? For you, I feel like it was like pretty natural, and then you seeked those opportunities, right? Was this coming from your own, or you heard somebody say this and you're like, okay, I'm actually gonna go try it? And then how do you choose those opportunities?
Yeah, so for me, I think it just came natural. You know, I'm not gonna say I was always a weird kid, but I was always uniquely different. I was a kid that had white contacts, fangs in his mouth, and my hair looked like Old Dirty Bastard. And I was kind of like, I was in all the groups, but none of the groups at the same time. So I was always a different thinker per se, right? If you want to base that off of the philosophy of Apple. So I could kind of tell you a story of like what you're talking about. Like, absolutely. I went and worked for Comcast one time. And I knew that the cycle for Comcast at the bare minimum was going to be a 30-day cycle because it was at the call center. But what I wanted to learn was like, okay, like how are they recruiting? That was my first thing. And I then later on, I used that recruiting strategy for the insurance side many years later. And in addition to it, I wanted to know what were their upsell cycles like, because I know Comcast has a great model. And if you don't know that model, think of it. Hey, come to us. We're going to give you something on sale, right? You're going to get this for 12 months. At the end of the 12 months, you're going to be like, the hell with that. I don't want to pay this premium. You're going to call back Comcast and be like, I'm about to cancel. And then they're going to change you to another department. What you don't know behind the scenes, there's 3 departments. There's an upsell department that all they do is upsell. There's a downsell department that says when you want to cancel, they're going to downsell and change your price. And then there's the new introduction. So there's 3 different things, and you're always moving in the ecosystem. And once I learned that, I was like, holy shit. Later on, I realized like that's what funnels are: upsells, downsells, and cross sells. But I learned that through Comcast, understanding that their models is 100% to keep that client satisfied. They're going to give you something cheap, they're going to inflate it, and then they're going to reduce it again, but it's never going to be as cheap as the original price.
Yeah. Oh, this is so juicy. Okay, so hashtag so juicy, so good. Sorry. Okay, so here's a
is hashtag juicy. You messed it up again.
Oh, come on. Okay, hold on. Before you go there. Okay.
Wait. Just a quick parenthesis.
Juicy question.
Just a quick parenthesis question. Hey, so you don't wear the fangs anymore?
Nah, I think my head has grown over the years. So I don't think. I mean, I literally had that sucker in high school, so I don't think it could fit. But I did find it recently. Recently, I did find them again. So.
Hey,
there we go. Hey, maybe one day we'll see you. Hosting one of these podcasts like that.
Yeah. The reason, Essay, I'm very excited about like this story that you were telling me is because sometimes in the entrepreneurial journey, right, and this includes me 100%, right. I came out of college and I'm like, I don't want to go work for somebody else. Like entrepreneurship is in my veins. I've identified there's these experiences like while we were growing up, like selling the t-shirts, selling the stickers, all this stuff, like putting events in college, like that I really want to create, right? Like build something. I don't know, like maybe as big as Elon Musk or you, right? But I want to build something. I don't know where it's going to go. And that story, right, in my head kind of prevented me from chasing opportunities to continue learning, right? And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to tackle this challenge of entrepreneurship or building a business on my own, right? And then obviously there's a ton of walls that come really quick and hit your face very fast and very intensely, right? As you grow or as you try to like get out of the cage, right? But then because of necessity at some point, I had to go get that job, right? And my job was selling fitness memberships, right, for a boutique studio. And then I grew in the position, ended up running a few of them. And I learned a ton, right? And then I applied that learning and did that. So kind of like this similar concept, right? But for me, it was like very natural. There's a lot of entrepreneurs there that are resisting to that, right? And there's a lot of opportunity, right? In whether that's sales, like the story that you told about Comcast, the model on the back end, like learning how to do that, getting paid while you learn these things and then going back at it, right? What would you say to those people that are facing a little bit of resistance, right? Because I was in that position, and then finally when I surrender, I'm like, this is part of the journey. Let me go learn those skills, right? Mm-hmm. While also getting paid and continue to build on the side, right? And then there's a different story turned about on those too. But what would you say to those people? What would your advice be?
Well, I want people to realize, you talk about the digital age, and now we're kind of really going into like the reoccurrence of an education age, right? So if you're not paying for the education, why don't you get paid to be educated? And that's just the way I look at it. So a lot of times the people that you're talking about, they're going to get to the point to where they're going to climax and they're going to jump out of corporate America. And then that's when they come to people like us, because we have the academies and we have the courses and we have the summits and we have the online webinars, and they're searching for something, and they're willing to spend anywhere from $47 to $47,000 to learn this, right? But they could easily then take a part-time job and do it for the same amount of time, probably even less, maybe 60 days, and learn what they would learn in these course opportunities as well. At least have a better foothold, so when you do take a itemized course, then you know exactly how to use it. You're not coming in cold turkey, fresh from a corporate job, saying, oh my God, a funnel. I never heard of a funnel. What do I do with a funnel? This is so confusing. It's just night and day difference when you actually put something that's already being worked on and being utilized to good use.
Yeah. I love these stories too. I'm curious, do you have any other story like the Comcast one?
Yeah, I worked for Apple too at one time too. So it was just
really,
I worked at the Apple store, and the Apple store. One thing I learned about the Apple store was like I was really good at selling units per transaction. And when you think about units per transaction, it's the same exact thing what we're trying to do online, right? You're trying to upsell. So I got really good at upselling, but I really wanted to be more of a genius. So what I learned on that side was like the management. If you have an employee that wants to be something, but you're not feeding it into it, and they may be really great at X, you're going to lose that employee because they really want to be this, even though they're great at that. You should help them move to where they want to be great, even though they're great at this particular thing. So that's the two things that I pulled from working at Apple, was like how to upsell, how to cross sell, how to make units per transaction a lot higher by doing the value proposition. And then at the same time, you got to take care of your employees.
Wow. Yeah. That's really impressive. And it, like, you work for some pretty big companies too. I mean, it's not like you went to like, found any random, small agency and work with them. You were like, who are the big dogs? Let me go and learn from them. you are like that's the original funnel hacking right there. That's the OG funnel hacking. I love that. So I'm curious. Okay, let's move past Cerebral 360 and all these jobs, right? You now are building a community. And I'm curious, what caused, after a lot of years of growing this agency, of trying multiple things, right? Like, what was the thought process on this is the next big thing that I'm going to do? Because again, you seem like somebody, I mean, no, you don't seem like somebody, I know you are somebody that's always looking to achieve the next success, right? I would say you are an overachiever, right? And I'm curious on why does that community fit that profile, right? How does that fit to your mission?
So I mean, like with anybody, like if you're running a marathon, you hit that crux, right? If you're a rock climber, you hit that crux. If you're working out in the gym, you hit that crux. And for me, my crux was that I had a damn stroke, a literal stroke, to where I was in the hospital on my damn deathbed after building the agency, after jumping between all these different corporations. And at the same time, you know, I was a primary caregiver for my son. I had got primary custody of my son when he was about 4 years old. And fast forward now, he's 15. So for the past 11 years, I was doing all this in addition to being a full-time parent. So everything just climaxed. And like literally in October 2018, had a stroke. So when I woke up in the hospital, then I had the opportunity to say, okay, yeah, I built all these different things. Yeah, I understand all these different things. But the one component that I was missing was, if I did leave behind my agency, my son wouldn't even know what the hell to do with it. He wouldn't know how to run it. He wouldn't know how to operate it. It would probably just be stolen from him, or just sold, or just fade away. And that's when I had the eureka moment. And at the same time, my girlfriend, who is my current wife now, was like, it's time for you to brand you as a brand. Step from behind the curtain, stop hiding in the shadows, and step into the limelight. And that was the transitional period.
Wow. I'm surprised that the stroke was actually fairly recent, man. That was 2018. I mean, that was just a few years ago. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm glad that you're doing great, clearly. So I'm happy for that. And I love that change, right? And we often talk about, like, most people, we feel like we actually talk about this in the last episode. Do we have to like hit that moment to try to make a change, right? And I'm curious in your opinion, right? Do you think most people need to hit that spot, or can we actually make that big change, that big leap before, you know, hitting that spot and avoiding all the pain?
I say, if you don't hit it, you'll never become great. Because I mean, the reality is that Boss and Cage and everything that I learned from Cerebral and all the companies that I've had previously, I would not be where I'm at right now if I didn't have that stroke. I still would have been on that treadmill of, I'm going to build this corporation this way, versus now I'm talking about more so legacy, education, community, and packaging it up from everything that I've learned from Cerebral 360, but I'm doing it in a uniquely different way versus creating an agency. Now I'm trying to create a movement.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's so important nowadays, right? Like, things are moving very quickly. Like, you mentioned metaverse, like that thing, you know, you sleep 2 hours and it has evolved completely, right? You're like, what's going on? It's really hard to keep up, right? And at the end of the day, I think for us also, like, the thought of building the community has come across, and we're like, and people just naturally started to levitate towards what we've been doing. And it has been kind of like put on pause a little bit, because first of all, we didn't have the capacity to actually serve them to the level that we wanted to. That's number one. And then it's about to change, which is awesome. But at the same time, when you mentioned that moment when you're like, okay, I gotta step in front of this and be that leader, right? Like, and it might look in form of content, in form of like that attractive character that you've become, right? Internally for you, was that a hard decision to make? I mean, I kind of know the answer. Okay. But here's why I asked this question, right? Because, you know, we talk in the world of publishing, right? For us, like, when we started the show, that was a very low point in our company, or we were like 4 years old into the company, not a lot of traction. We lost a bunch of clients, and we're like, man, it was kind of like our company stroke, right? It was like we had 2 months to live, basically, and the show changed everything. for us, the publishing, right? So for you, how was that transition? And you were giving me this face of like, yeah, I mean, like you was not like, can you describe me through that process?
Yeah, I mean, I could vividly describe it to you because I mean, it happened in 2018, right? And then what people don't realize when you have a stroke is like your brain swells up. You're uniquely different. I lost the motion of my right hand. I had to work back. My speech was obviously I'm a New Yorker, so I speak really fast. I was like slow drawing. I was like, yeah. And it took me months to kind of speed back up to where I'm at right now. So from October until like February that year, it was more so recovery. And then once I on that recovery, the entire time I'm recovering, I'm thinking like, okay, what am I going to do? 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 Every damn day I would wake up. And then finally I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get into this drop shipping. I'm going to learn drop shipping. I'm going to understand Shopify. And I jumped into that market and I started building and developing a Shopify store and I got it up and running. And I was like, this is interesting. And right before I had my stroke, I had just started getting into the publishing. So I had published my first book earlier that year or the year before, whatever it was. And then I was like, I found a particular group of people under learn.com. And it was Onyx Segal, and he had a guest on his show. And his guest was talking about Kindle this and Kindle that. He'd been doing Kindle till 2000. And I was like, I already published one book. What is this Kindle thing about? So I dove into that. And, you know, I learned like everything I could from that environment. And I was just like, holy shit, I already had all these components, but now I know the reality of what I'm going to do. So from then until now, I've published 8 books. And on that journey, I was like, part of publishing was cool, but what can I do with publishing that gives back to the community? And that's when literally in 2020, February, I was like, okay, finally, after 1 year, the 2019 was my year of dibbling and dabbling and figuring out the formula. And then I launched Boss Uncaged February of 2020.
Let's go.
That's awesome. Hey, yeah, standing ovation
Studio
from the
clap and
crowd.
standing ovation. Yeah,
There we go.
Thank you.
I say, first of all, do you have the book rather? Because I see you got plenty of books behind you. Do you have the first book that you wrote with you rather?
Yeah. First one.
Which one is it? Oh, there we go.
Yes, love.
Fuck failure, seduce success. I love it. Guys, go check it out. We're going to leave the link in the description. Make sure you get your copy. And then make sure you leave Essay a message telling him the 3 things you learned from that book. You have an assignment. I love it. And I mean, I have a whole bunch of questions about writing a book, but I don't really want to, like, you know, go in such a tangent.
I say go for it, man. Fuck it.
But, you know, like, it's a process. Obviously, we've heard it from a lot of people. Like, and coming from nothing, of not creating, you know, I mean, you're building your business, you're creating your business, but not from publishing per se. What was the challenge like, you know, putting your thoughts into words, right? And then, I mean, putting it out into the world for criticism or for, you know, for people to comment it and read it and get to know you. What was that process like?
So the first book essentially took me like probably 6 or 7 months. It took a long time. The second book probably was 3 months. And now I'm at the point to where literally if I want to, I could probably drop a book per week. So it was just taking the lessons learned and creating a system. And once you have a system, it's just like a podcast. Like every time you start your podcast, you already know your cues. You already know like your ad spot. You already know what kind of questions you may have. And then whoever you're interviewing is going to fill in those blanks. It's the same exact damn thing for writing a book. Same exact philosophy. Interesting.
So, you know, this tells me that some people might overthink some stuff, right? And of course, everybody got different process and all that stuff. So I'm curious, do you have any thoughts on overthinking, right? Because again, if I sit down to write a book, I'm not gonna, you know, undersell myself, I guess that's the word. But I don't think I could do it in 3 months, right? Or maybe 6 months. And I'm curious, am I overthinking it, right? Do I just don't have the process itself? Like, I'm sure there's other types of, if
you're listening, by the way, please go watch the video to see the reaction of both of our faces when he said that. Just gonna put that out there. It is worth watching
it. So yeah, like what can people do, you know, to like get that levels of performance?
So, I mean, it's a funny thing that you brought that up because, I mean, I was part of the Success Champion Summit. So I had made like a little small blog post after the summit to all the speakers. And I was like, look, you guys are missing opportunity. Maybe some of you may realize it, some of you may not. But you just spoke on a stage for 30 to 45 minutes, whatever it is, right? Think about that 30-minute, transcribe that sucker, right? Before that transcription happened, you already had your outline because you wrote your speech. You already did your deck. You already did your slides. So all you need to do at this point in time is transcribe, clean up, and fill in the blanks. And then you'll easily have a book that's 120 pages just from your speaking and engagement. And it was just kind of like the light bulbs went off. I mean, it's that simple. If you are writing a speech is essentially an outline for a book. You're giving actionable, you're giving value, you're asking people for input, and then you're also giving them steps on how to do the next thing. All that sounds like a book to me.
So powerful. So
very powerful. I love it.
Fonzie, I'm just gonna put this out there. I think like we literally have probably like 10 books between the ideas that we've been able to develop.
Yeah.
So this is another
on the podcast, right?
This is another powerful thing, right? I said, like, you know, with the show, there's obviously when there's the process of turning those thoughts into words, right? In our specific case, it has been the platform of the show and guesting as well, right? Guesting probably more powerful because when they ask those questions, like these answers come out of the things that we've learned, that we've experienced, right? And there's these different things that we gotta say, and I love this fact of overthinking it, because on publishing, like even when people try to go and launch a show, for example, or start interviewing people, or you know, even publishing, even going on Facebook Live, there's so much friction that we put into our own minds and be like, I don't think I can do this because X, Y, Z, right? And you know, one of the questions that we ask, like, okay, well, what if I run out of things to say, or like I'm very scared that I don't know what's gonna say? And we're this past week, because of a program that we'll be launching in January, right? We've been jumping on client calls, and all the feedback has been coming in. I remember 2 days ago, Fonzie's like, dude, this is insane. Like, look at all this like gold content and questions that they've been asked. We will never, ever run out of content because of this. So, you know, I want to encourage everybody out there, right? Have those conversations, right? Start interacting in collaborations like the one that we're doing with you right now, because those things are going to come down. And if you want to write a book someday, please follow SA Advice, which is, by the way, on minute 26. So just go back and re-listen to that.
SA, you're gonna have to write a book on how to write a book. You know, so meta right there. Now I'm curious. I have another question that I kind of like put in the back burner there, and it was about, you told me that one year you were like jumping from one thing to the other, right? And I mean, we know it's very real, the shiny object syndrome in entrepreneurs. Right, like they go, oh, this opportunity here and this opportunity there and this opportunity there, is literally a call for help, SOS, right? That's what it stands for, shiny object syndrome. So I'm curious, like, you seem to be an executioner, like you jump through all these things, but you do it, like you take action, right? And as somebody that, you know, has had that SOS call a few times, right? And I've jumped from one thing to the other, and I was like, oh, this is so cool, right? How do you focus on those things? And when do you know it's a good time to move on to the next thing, right? Because you hear a lot of the times, like, focus, like stick to one thing long enough, endure long enough to be successful, right? But I personally don't think there's like a specific timeline that people need to follow. I think it's somewhat subjective. You got to get feedback to know if it's like working or not, right? But when is that moment that you pivot and that you're willing to learn something new? And how do you, once you pick something, how do you focus on that? How do you put your attention in that?
I think for me, because I've done it 2 different ways, right? And this is like, I'll say like my second or my third rodeo show, right? So the first time when I was doing like the media stuff, and then I got into the insurance and I got into travel agent, I was thinking, you know, I hate to say it, but way too big before my time was there for me to think that big. If that makes sense. I mean, insurance has nothing to do with graphic design, and graphic design insurance has nothing to do with anything, right? Until you think about like the vision. So the vision was to create a multiple agency to where people were going to be traveling to do some of this graphic design work for clients. And then we would have our own travel agency to fulfill that, right? And in addition to that was the insurance. It was part of it as far as building out the financial aspect of it. But again, too big. So what I've done is like figured out like my space is essentially digital currency, right? So where am I in the digital world and what can I add on to what I'm doing? So I started a podcast that became platform 1. As I'm interviewing people on this podcast, you start to see patterns. So the pattern was, I was an author. I was interviewing a lot of people that wrote books. So I started asking them a particular question. What books have you read to help you? What books are you reading now? And what books have you written yourself? Then that gave me enough content to say, well, shit, that's a whole new platform that's still stemming from the same platform. So I created a Boss Uncaged book club, and the book club content is being feed from that question from the podcast, right? And then as I continue to talk, the next step I'm going to do is I'm probably going to build a Boss Uncaged tech club, because I always ask what software you're using. What tools do you use in your company that you would not be able to do what you're doing without? Well, I've asked that question like 100 times now. So I have enough content to now create a whole affiliate platform that's just about all the different software that all these people are using, and monetize that as well. So I'm staying in my wheelhouse based upon the original content, but I'm creating all these little epicenters that are all circling around the Boss Uncaged brand.
That's very interesting. That is like, I mean, it sounds like a great affiliate marketing strategy, and yeah, like the diversification on all these things, and your ability to spot opportunities, honestly, like within these conversations that you're having and the feedback that's coming from the people that are listening to you. I think it's amazing, and we can learn a lot from that, right? It's like, are we actually listening and looking, right? Having an open mind to encounter these opportunities.
Yeah, I wanna highlight this part right here, because I feel so important. Whenever we talk about podcasting or publishing, right? Like in our case, people are like, "Oh, you have a show." Yeah, that's an avenue, right? There's so much others that happens behind the scenes, right? With the micro assets, with the live show, with the behind the scenes, right? But people think it's just this, right? But like you mentioned, right? Things start to happen while you have these conversations that you start noticing patterns, right? In our specific case, with the type of guests that we've had, we're like, okay, the constant is consistency, right? Like in publishing, it's like, you gotta be consistent. So we gotta figure out, like, how can we be consistent, or how can we help people be consistent, right? That's number one in our side of things, right? But also, we also have those questions that we continue to ask every single episode. In our specific case, there's like, they're related to publishing. And
you'll experience it.
You experience it in a second. But those have a place that is not just social content. That has a place in different things that we do on the back end as well. So I want to encourage people that if you are publishing right now, you have a show, what are those things that continue to come up, right? Because like you spotted affiliate opportunities or a book club, right? In our case, we're like, well, we have all these incredible entrepreneur stories. One idea that's on the board, right? It's we have this idea of a brand that we want to create called A to Z Husky, right? I have 2 Huskies that, man, like my kids, I have a 2-year-old and he loves that, right? Okay, what about we take these stories, we adapt into A to Z Husky, and then you have a whole line of different things. So again, like this is like crack for entrepreneurs, right? It definitely is, shiny object syndrome right now, but we have the ammo. Like we don't have to go look anywhere else to create that product whenever we have the resources and the capacity to do that, right? So I want to encourage everybody, these trends are going to start, picking up and go do that. Have you seen any, like from yours, right? Have you seen any other like unique cases or benefits from having that one platform or multiple platforms?
The next one for me is definitely, it only makes sense that I go into NFTs, because it just, everything linearly just connects. And I was just like, holy shit, now there's an opportunity not only for me to create content, monetize the content, but then I could prove ownership through a digital ledger. So, I mean, just think about that concept. Like, where the hell was this when I was a graphic designer? Like, where was this in the late 90s, early 2000s? So now I can create all this additional content, and I can talk to my community. Like, okay, you may not be able to own Boss Uncaged, but you know what? You can own a damn Boss Uncaged lion that's a one of a kind, that's breaking out of his cage, and he has on a 3-piece suit, and he's ripping it open. But there's only one of that image that's ever going to be created, and you can own that.
I love it. Yeah. And as the community grows, right, it fits into this full circle, right? As the community grows, it grows in value, your relationship grows in value, more people want to be in it, more people want to be a part of it. And then you create this whole experience out of it. Oh man, I love it.
When I have to do a NFT special in here, and I was going to mention that, I was going to be like, are you designing yourself those NFTs?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got systems in place. So, I mean, I've just learned that it is because I know how to do a lot of things. It does not mean that I should be doing everything.
Yeah.
But I can put my fingers and I can touch and modify once it's started, or I can put my input in. But again, I'm doing 25 different things at once, so I can't do all of them at the same time.
Absolutely.
That's a great lesson right there for you listening right now. He said, I know how to do a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that I have to do them all, right? And I feel like as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we like to get our hands dirty, and a lot of us, I'm not saying, I'm generalizing here a little bit, and we like to do it all, and sometimes it's not, you know, the how, but it's the who, right? Like who can I plug in here that can maybe take this to the next level, that is even better than myself at doing it, and they can, you know, improve the process and give better results. I'm saying this for myself, actually.
Yeah. Jose, Daniel, please cut this and send it to his Slack channel. Okay,
yeah,
good, thank you.
They're gonna hold me accountable. Yeah, I like learning a lot of stuff, and then I'm like, I'll just get obsessed.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. It's got to be a lifelong learner the way I look at it.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you deal with that, right? Like, because the same thing, like we don't stop learning. These things are moving so fast, and we have to adapt, right? So how do you filter the things, and how do you prioritize the items that you need to take action on immediately, right? Like, how do you have a process for that, or is it pretty intuitive?
It's a combination of both. I mean, obviously NFTs is not something new, but the reason why I decided to get into it right now is because, you know, I have my Uncaged Academy, and that is becoming systematized. Like, you know, part of me joining like Donnie, right? Donnie's networking group was a very good networking group for me to come into it. So then I took the responsibility of becoming an education chair in that group. And I think if anybody's listening to this is going to be such a golden nugget. If you have an opportunity to join a networking group, and you have an opportunity to become like an education chair, well, you know what that really means to me is that I have an opportunity to create content and test the content on live people every single damn week, record that content, and then put it into an academy. So 4 times a month, I'm creating content on the fly for a community of individual people, right? So then you want to really understand that content and then put it on a platform to where you can monetize it. And then you just keep building over and over again. That way you don't have to fight. You don't have to think about what am I going to do next. You could ask those people and say, hey, what do you guys want to learn next week?
It's so powerful. By the way, yes, golden boulder alert. FONZI, where's your helmet? Where is your helmet?
We need to get
wait,
them.
You have a helmet. What's happening here? Yeah, okay.
I'm curious. Talk to me about the Uncaged Academy, right? I mean, yes, you build your community, but what is the mission behind it? Who are you helping? And most importantly, where is it going?
Yeah. So for right now, like the core is people like myself. And I always use this analogy of triangulation, right? Podcasters are on one side of my triangle, authors are on the other side of the triangle, and then the base of the triangle is entrepreneurs. So in the middle, where all 3 of them overlap. And then you may have 2 of the sides. You may be an author and an entrepreneur. You may be a podcaster and an entrepreneur, but you may be an author and a podcaster. But the goal is that this academy is going to show you how to like serialize this information, right? So I'm putting information on authoring. I'm putting information on podcasting. I'm a brander, right? I've been branding, and graphic design is my core of everything. So there's a lot of branding information in there. And again, I'm doing a lot of networking. So as I'm communicating and closing deals and getting referrals, all the information that I'm creating in these networking groups, I'm also putting that in there as well too. So it gives a person the opportunity to see the storyline. If I'm an author, how do I become a podcaster? If I'm a podcaster, how do I become an author? And how do I monetize both these things?
Whoa.
Yeah.
So good.
So what is the best way, in your opinion, to build a community like this one?
I would say you have to start with a platform. Like, you just can't start with an academy, right? If I had started this academy in February of 2020, it would have been for no reason. I mean, I would have to use my old brand and try to figure that out. But I studied podcasting for that year, and everything I did was just 100% podcasting. Like, I blocked everything out. Nothing else could phase me at that point in time. So then once I got the podcasting down to a system, and I had Excel spreadsheets, and I had automation, and we got to the point to where, you know, I think now we're at like 90 something episodes out. Like, we just dropped episode 80 something, but we have 94 of the episodes. So technically I could stop recording podcasts until essentially 2023 if I wanted to. So it gives me opportunity to then take those elements and go to the next phase. So the next phase was the book club. I started that January this year. Then now I'm going into the NFT phase, which is going to be like the big thing into next year. But the underline between everything is the academy that pulls in. How do you do a podcast? How do you do NFTs? How do you write books? Here's an opportunity. I've done it. Here's all the branding. Here's all the stuff that I've created. And now I'm showing you how to do it for yourself.
Yeah. So when I'm listening to this, right, obviously with the podcast, it sounds to me like you're targeting more of an audience, right? For example, for us, the value on the platform or top value is this relationship that we're building right now, right? And we share it all the time. And we always say, like, building the audience is kind of like a collateral benefit for where we are at this point. I think eventually we'll have something specifically for building an audience. But I'm curious, what was that process in that 1 year that you were just focused on the podcast? Was it the main goal for you build these relationships, or was it to build the audience? And it sounds to me like it was a little bit of the audience. And how were you doing that?
Well, for me, it was more so I didn't know anything about podcasting. So one, I wanted to be able to conquer that monster. First of all, I wanted to uncage myself in that space. But what I realized very quickly that I'm really good at is if there's a problem, I'm going to try to systematize the solution for it. So my first issue was like editing, right? Like how to edit. I already had an editing background. I've done video and all the other stuff. So I was like, I can do it myself. That's great. But that's taking my time away from the bigger picture. So then I hired a freelance editor. And I was like, that's cool. How do I make his job easier? Then I created an Excel spreadsheet. How do I make this spreadsheet even easier for him to recognize? Then I started doing time code. It's like, here's your cuts. Here's how I want you to put the ad spot. Here's how I want you to put the intro, the outro. And then I was like, how do I make that even better? Then I found a platform that allows me to do includes. So I've simplified it to where it got to the point to where now I just run the podcast through a platform. It cleans it up, optimizes it. I drop it in pretty cleanly. And then I have my intro and my outro automatically set in. So it's all systems in place. So once I conquered that, then it's the next problem. How do I conquer that and systematize that?
Yeah.
I love that. One problem at a time.
Yeah. And I want to commend you for taking action.
Commend you or commend you?
Command. No, command it. Yeah, English. Sorry, guys. My English is not very good looking. Okay. So but I want to commend you for taking action on that, right? Because a lot of people freeze when they see that. And then they're like, I don't know what else to do, right? Like for us, when we had a first show called Brews and Bros. And that has not seen the light of day because there was a lot of friction in that sense. Yeah. And the reason we're able to run, 3 live shows a week, right, is because of the systems, right? And that's one of the things that we're really passionate about is whatever type of content you decide to create, whether it's a blog, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a platform, YouTube videos, right? Figure out a way how can you remove friction from the process first to execute and then to make sure that you can replicate that, right? That's a reason that in our specific case, we have a team that produces under a very specific framework, our own show and the people that come and work with us, right? And that allows for also some flexibility and a lot of capacity, right? So I think that's where it's so important. And thank you for bringing that up because at first it would take a lot of energy if you don't figure that one out, right? So yes, and then what happens is you stop publishing, right? And then we cannot build a community. We cannot explore these ideas. We cannot expand on the thing and build the business that we want to build. So thank you, I say for bringing that out. Like it's so important. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're getting here close to the end. Before that, I want to highlight. I've been looking at this, awesome painting you got on the back for the whole hour, and I'm like, is that Darth Vader? And did you make that yourself?
Yes and yes. So it was just one of those random things. And one day we got some stencils out. And I had got my hands on a Darth Vader head that had lights built into it. And I was like, this would be really kick-ass if I just put this on top of Boston Cage and put it behind my head. So it's like Darth Vader is always looking over my shoulders at all times.
Yeah,
it's
protected.
Yeah, I love it. I love the whole idea. But I'm curious, like, why Darth Vader?
Well, there's always two sides to that coin. I mean, ideally, I would have probably, both Yoda and Darth Vader at the same time. So the first one I found was Darth Vader, but I'm a really big believer in the yin and the yang, man, the light and the dark. So.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I love it, man. I love the fact that, for those listening, please come on the page and watch this video because that's one of the things that from the very beginning, we decided to take ownership. It was like in our space, right? Here's Fonzie with his Stormtrooper helmet. Let's go. And at first, like people, a lot of are judgy, right? Like people do their virtual backgrounds or whatever, right? It's like, and for us, we're like, okay, how can we have fun with it? And, if you see around, there's a ton of stuff that identify and us as people, right? And a lot of people sync with that. And we have a crazy example. I think it was like the head of one of the Podmax network. we started like our discovery call. And the introduction was like very cold at first, but then I had like this little Spider-Man next to me. It was a Funko Pop head of Spider-Man, and he goes like, "Dude, you like Spider-Man?" And immediately the relationship completely changed, right? And it was incredible. And that's a big part of publishing. You're gonna start attracting the people that sync with you, and then the network is gonna spawn. You never know. So I really appreciate you putting the that is so awesome. This is probably one of the most memorable like backdrops that I've personally seen. So thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
Top 5 for sure. Top 5. We're gonna do we should do
a backdrop rating.
A content is profit backdrop rating for 2021.
As we wrap up, right? What will be an action point that an entrepreneur, somebody that's building their business, right? They're starting to publish, being consistent, right? They're trying to get that momentum. What's something that they can do today to continue to move forward?
I mean, there's just so many different variables to the answer to that question. I think first and foremost is like you have to have the right mindset. Like no matter how many hurdles that you're going to hit, no matter how many times you fall down, it's kind of cliche, but you're going to have to be able to get back up. But the time it takes you to get back up is very important. If you sit and you sulk and you hold and you're like, fuck, it's not working. What do I do? And you're laying in bed and hours go by, then 2 days go by, then 2 weeks go by. You're losing out on tractionable time. It's just like working out. Like if you hurt the first day and you work out the second day, by the time you do that for about 2 to 3 months, you're not going to be hurting anymore. Then you're going to be doing it. You're going to be desiring it. You're going to be hungry for it, motivated for it. So stop sitting on your ass and get out there and do it.
Yes.
I love it.
You hear that, Fonzie, right? For the books? Okay, good.
I took this one too hard.
Where will you be if you never published? Whether that's a book, whether that's a platform, where do you think you will be right now?
Yeah, that's a hard question because I mean I've always been a creator of some kind. Honestly, if I could just be anywhere, it'd probably be on a sailboat, creating content, literally like having remote Wi-Fi on a boat, telling a damn story day in, day out.
Well, I'm just gonna throw this idea out there. Essay, one day we're gonna do a live Content is Profit show on a sailboat. Just saying.
We're close, by the way. We have a previous Content is Profit guest. Shout out to Wally Conway. He actually has a yacht called Sea Studio, SEA, and he records all his stuff in there. So maybe we can, collab and do something like that. So Wally, if you're watching, let's go.
I got to connect with Wally, man. I mean, I'm a fellow sailor as well. I started sailing last year. Picked up sailing.
Let's go.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're gonna connect you guys. He's incredible. He lives like in our same town and killer entrepreneur, awesome as well. So I'm sure you guys will relate a lot.
The power of relationships. I love this.
I know.
Essay, before we head out, like where people can connect with you, where can they find you, where can they get all the books, where can they be a part of the Boss Uncaged Academy? How do they do that?
Yeah, so the Boss Uncaged Academy is a simple name. It's learnacademy.bossuncaged.com. The podcast is podcast.bossuncaged.com. And if they just want to know more about me and like my strategies and growth strategy and branding, it's essaygrant.com.
Easy peasy. Baby. Guys, we're going to leave all the links in the description. Make sure you scroll down, click them all, subscribe, join the community. Just do everything that Essay is saying, please. No excuses. You heard it. You heard it here first. You got to get up your butt and take action. So also, I want you guys taking action in this link.
Also, if you have a Yoda head, please send it to Essay so we can build like a second incredible, part of to the backdrop. So I have a baby Grogu over there somewhere.
Yeah.
So but it's not as big as your Darth Vader. But anything else you want to add, Essay, before we head out?
I was just thinking, man. I mean, when opportunities knock, I mean, I think the biggest problem that I've learned in my career is that people hear about opportunities and they let fear shut them down because they're not sure. And they think asking questions may make them sound dumb, or they may sound like an idiot. But in reality, if you just take the risk and ask those questions, it may change your life because now you have a new opportunity that you never would have had before.
So love that. I love that. Ask, the power of asking.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Essay. This has been absolutely amazing. Do you have anything else to add before we head out?
No, I think this was awesome. I just wanted to say thank you for your time. Incredible conversation. Cannot wait to hang out. Whether that's Wally's boat or anywhere in the world. And now we have to we gotta reconsider our thing. We might have to do something like that.
I know. Essay, you kicked us out from the top 5. The Minecraft.
Yeah, by the way, we got some comments coming here with like, I don't have I don't have a Yoda's head. I'm just the Yoda of YouTube. Ben, he was our previous guest at Content is Profit, but Ben, find the head, send it to us. I'm just gonna put that out there. All right, guys. With that said, thank you so much for tuning into the Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and follow the show and on social media at BIZBROS Co.
That is right. And if Essay here help you move one step closer to your goal, please don't forget to share this episode with 3 friends. Remember, that's your ticket of admission. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys.
All right. Essay, man, thank you so much. We're still live on Facebook.
We have a quick tradition.
Before we head out, we like to take a selfie.
Yeah, let's
do it.
go. All right, here we go.
There's 2 in each one. We got Essay and Darth Vader.
1, 2, 3. Sweet.
All right.
Awesome. All right.
Looking good.
See you later, social media. We'll see you on Monday.
Are we going to see them on Monday?
Yeah, we have,
It's going to be one